breadwinner, you can be a breadwinner. Girl, go and get that, you can achieve that. Be a breadwinner, you can be a breadwinner. Girl, go and get that, you can achieve that.
Right, welcome to another Breadwinning Wednesday. I am excited to be here with you, and today we got an exciting topic for you. We are talking about the obvious, this conversation that has been going on round and round, whether or not we will be heading into a recession. And I want you to feel confident in your business, regardless of what happens in the economy, right? We want to be prepared for whatever and feeling in a really good place about our businesses and not letting all of this doom and gloom talk to take you over. So I know you've been hearing the talk of the potential recession, gas prices on the rise, and it might feel like everything is going up price-wise at a faster rate than your revenue. Well, today we're going to change that. I want to share with you 3 recession-proof ways that you can create a cash injection in your business. And if we haven't met, then I want to welcome you. I'm Jamila Payne. So welcome to another Breadwinning Wednesday. We are here to help service-based entrepreneurs to put simple systems in place so that you can sell and deliver a high-end signature service, grow your revenue, serve your clients while working less. So let's jump into this exciting topic for today. If you are ready, then give me a 1 in the chat for ready. Let me know you are ready to conquer this daggone recession monster that everyone has been talking about, or you're like, you're okay with it. You're not feeling the spirits of the doom and gloom that people have been talking about. I'm telling you, I have been avoiding people left and right. Like, if you are a negative person, I don't want to talk to you right now. I'm like Rihanna in that song. What she says, I don't know how to talk to you. Like, I don't know how to talk to you right now if you don't have an optimistic point of view, because it's very important. I'll just say this as a side note, like, it's very important for us as business owners to be able to be in the right mind frame. Like, so much of being able to thrive in business has to do with your mindset. So it's really, really, really important that you are setting yourself up in the right mindset. So I want to help you to get to the point that you get excited when you hear people talking about recessions or economic downturns, because historically, that's where millionaires are made. And that is definitely historically true, especially for women of color in particular. I was reading a book, which is called, I'm trying to catch it from my bookshelf over here, but I believe it's called Black Millionaires. But it tells the story. I read this book back in 2020, I believe is when I first read it. And I was so inspired. It was funny because when that recession hit, I was feeling so inspired because I had been reading this book, and I was like, yes, this is where this is an opportunity for people. And the book talked a lot about how people were creating wealth in real estate. So it talks about the first millionaires who were African-American people, men and women, and how they use this economic downturn, right? So it talks a lot about like places like Tulsa, for example, and other parts of the US where there were economic downturns. People were living in the worst, conditions as far as opportunities, like, that we're fortunate right now. We're not like having that segregation and all of that was once existing in the US. So they were in tough opportunities and tough conditions. And because real estate was taking this downturn and properties and things were going cheap, or people had to get rid of stuff, people were being able to buy properties and businesses for pennies on the dollar. And I just want to say, like, even though we're in different conditions now, in terms of economic opportunity, there are still going to be so many businesses that are not going to be thriving or people are going to be selling, or people are going to be going to scarcity. It's like the stock market crash. I don't know if you ever heard the story of how, when the stock market crashed in I forget what year it is. I'm so bad with years. Don't get me the lying. 18 something or another. Stock market crash. And people were thinking to themselves that they lost all their money. And people were doing crazy things like jumping out of windows because they saw like the stock market plummet. And then like a few days later, it came back, right? And so people had taken all these drastic measures. I was doing my own research the other day and looking at what's the pattern. I like, as a marketer, I like, researching and studying and analyzing data. And so I was looking at the data on recessions, which it showed that a recession was happening on average around every 10 years. Now, if they're considering, they meaning like the government or whoever is the determinant of if we're in an official recession, which a recession means that we're having 2 consecutive quarters of negative GDP growth. So I'm really nerding out on y'all today. but don't worry, we're going to talk about what to do about all this. So my point here is that I started laughing at myself and lost my thought. But my point here is that it's not likely, and I don't want to be an economic predictor, but it's not likely that we're going to have the level of recession that people have seen in the past, because there was just this, they call it the COVID recession, which happened in 2020, 2021. So with all of that being said, there's been a lot of negative talk, and I just want you to start thinking about it in a different way. And the different way is, how can I prepare myself in my business? How can I set myself up for success? How can I, if there is, we are not in a recession currently, okay? There is some inflation that is happening. Prices are going up. We are not currently in a recession. So what I want you to start thinking about is, how can I do things like have extra cash on hand so that I can so I can jump in on opportunities, right? So that you can maximize on opportunities. And those opportunities might look like you making investments in real estate. Those opportunities might look like you making investments in your business, whether that be hiring team, whether that be getting coaching or training. Like, those are the kinds of investments that you want to be doubling down on. And you want to be getting rid of the excess fat, right? Things that are not going to create a return for you. So that's how I want to invite you to think about this time. I don't want you to feel bad about it or feel negative about it. And I can't control how you feel, but I want to give you some encouragement around what's going on in the marketplace so that you can know you can absolutely thrive through this. This does not need to be a time of hardship or difficulty for your business. It can absolutely be a time that you can thrive, okay? And so I want to share some ways for you to do that. The big mistake that I see women business owners making when the economy is changing is that they try to go on fire sale, or they mentally tap out, right? Like, you mentally get your head out of the game because you are surrounding yourself with people who have negative talk. Like, my peeps know around me, I don't want to have an ongoing conversation about gas prices. What I want to be doing is earning so much money that gas prices don't make a difference, right? Like, whether it's $4 or $5 doesn't make a difference, because I'm creating value in the marketplace and I'm earning more because I'm creating value in the marketplace. That's what I want you to be thinking about. I don't want you to be thinking about getting caught up in this small stuff. Like, oh my gosh, toilet paper is $1 more. Like, okay. You know what I mean? I don't want you to get caught up in that kind of stuff. I don't want you to get your mentally psyched out And so if you feel like if you're already in a place where you're feeling a little bit of that edginess, or you're being surrounded by people that are having these conversations on an ongoing way, I want to encourage you to really curate your surroundings in terms of news and information that you are listening to, in terms of videos that you are listening to. Make sure you tune up the inspiration. Make sure you tune into people who know what they're doing, who have thrived through different economic conditions in their business. Make sure you are curating the music that you are listening to, the friends and family that you are hanging out with. What you want to do is be able to get strategic in your business so that you can continue on a growth trajectory as opposed to getting into contraction. A mistake that I often see a lot of even corporates making is they start canceling their marketing, right? Like, marketing is what drives your sales. Why in the heck would you cancel marketing in your business because of the economic conditions are changing? You might change your marketing strategy if you have a strategy is not working, but why in the heck would you cancel the things that are bringing in the leads and helping you to continue to have conversations that are going to lead to you getting clients? Okay, so let me know if this is helpful. Okay, give me a T for true in the chat if this is helpful for you so far, because I really want you, before we even jump into the strategies, I really want you to have the mindset shift around how to think about this. What I want you to be doing is preparing yourself so that you have cash on hand. If you don't currently have any business savings, then now's a time you may want to start setting a couple of ducats aside for business savings so that you have more cash on hand so that you can be able to take advantage of opportunities. And so that means setting up a separate business savings account. You might have a business checking account that you're using, but if you don't have a business savings account, I want you to set up a savings account and start setting aside a certain percentage of all of the money that you are making. Even if it feels like, I don't know if I should be doing this, or things feel like, Jamila, I'm not necessarily hitting my monthly revenue goal as of yet that I want to hit. Trust me, I want you to save anyway. When I got started in the earlier phases of my business, one of the things that I did, and let's just say it didn't matter how much I made. Like, so for every $100 I made, I would set aside $30. Right. And so that just increased. If I made $1,000, I would set aside $300. Do that to the extent I didn't start out there. Right. First, it was 10. First, if I made $100, I set aside $10. Right. If I made 1,000, I set aside 100. So I just want you to have it as a practice, even on a micro level. If you get a client payment that comes in, for $1,000, then how can you then just set aside $100 right off the top? Right? If you were working as an employee, Uncle Sam would take their money right off the top before you did anything, before you even got the money into your bank account. So I want you to think of that practice as something that you could do for yourself. How can you take that money right off the top for yourself and begin to set it aside so that you have a cushion for your business that is going to be able to last you? So same way, I'm sure you heard in the financial world, in the personal financial world, of people talking about being able to set aside, 3 months of living expenses or 6 months of living expenses in the personal finance world, but you should do the exact same thing for your business. So how can you set aside 3 months of expenses or 6 months of business expenses so that you're setting yourself up? And it's natural for business to have ebbs and flows, right? Like, business will go like this. What you don't want is like dips and drops where it's like this and it's wacky and it's all over the place. And so you want to be able to prepare and know that it is natural for you to have, a really great month and then have a little bit of a dip and then have another 2 or 3 great months and then have a little bit of a dip. Business is not necessarily going to be flat across the board, and you don't want it to be flat across the board. Okay. So I really want you to start thinking more strategically about these things and preparing yourself for the natural ebbs and flows of business. And one of the things that I found inside of Breadwinners Mastermind, one of the things that we talk about is setting up your baselines. And that's literally, I could do a whole other session on that, but just to give you a quick sense of what I'm talking about, your baselines are basically what your standard is. And you can have baselines in different areas of your life. Like you can have a baseline in terms of money that you're used to having in your account, right? So let's just say that you're used to having, 10 or 20K sitting in your account. What you may notice is that when you go below that amount of money sitting in your account, whatever it is, then you can start to feel an emotional shift. You start feeling pressure. You start feeling a little anxious. Like you start getting worried, like, wait a minute, my account is dropping below my baseline, the level in which I am comforted having money at in my account. So I want you, if you are not clear on what it is today, I want you to figure out what your financial baseline is. What is the amount of money that you are comfortable having in your business account before you start getting wacky, right? Like before you start feeling uncomfortable, feeling anxious, feeling scarcity, like what number? And right now, maybe that's $1,000. Maybe that's $5,000. Maybe it's more, maybe it's 10 or 20 or 30,000 or $50,000. It's going to be different for everybody, but I want you to get clear on what that baseline is. At an earlier stage in my business, I had a baseline. That baseline has grown. Like when I first, started out, my baseline was 1,000, and then it went to 10,000, and then it went to 30,000. And so I want and your baseline will change and change and change over time. So you want to think about like, what is that baseline that you're comfortable having in your business account so that you don't feel anxious, you don't feel anxiety, you can manage the ebbs and flows of business, and you can feel good about it. Okay, give me a B if you're getting value out of this so far. Let me know in the chat. I'm just checking okay, good. I'm seeing those T's popping up. Oh, Lisa, awesome. She said 1929. Thank you, Lisa. Yes, Angela says, I am not participating in a recession. Yes, there you go. No, thank you. Not participating. Hey, Merle, thank you so much for joining us. So glad to see that you're here. Phyllis is here. Awesome. Michelle, Monica, Angela, Lisa, Jovienne. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay, so let's get into the three things, right? 3 ways that you can add that are cash proof, that are recession proof, that allow you to add cash injection into your business. And first, let me just say what I mean by cash injection. Cash injection is like a surge of income, right? A surge of income into your business. So if you're looking for, man, how can I quickly, sometimes when you're in business, depending on how your business model is set up, you may have a little bit of a longer sales cycle in your business. I know some of my clients have a little longer of a sales cycle in their business where it may take them, 2 to 3 months to get a client. So number one, you want to try to shorten that sales cycle. But let's just say if you do have a little bit longer of a sales cycle, maybe it takes a couple of weeks to be able to get a client, a cash injection allows you to bring in money in a shorter period of time than your normal sales cycle. For us, we don't have a long sales cycle, but one of the things that we do is we host enrollment events, and those enrollment events happen on a periodic basis. So let's just say if we're not going to have our next enrollment until later in the year, then that there's going to be space in between the time that we're bringing in clients, unless we're using part of our daily acquisition strategy to bring in clients outside of that, right? So it totally depends. Every single business model is different. So a cash injection is giving you the ability to be able to bring in clients at a faster rate, or to create cash, to inject cash into your business. This is not, now this does not mean that you need to create a new offer. Doesn't mean that you have to create a new offer. You can do cash injections around your signature service. Okay, so it doesn't mean that we're kind of junking up our business or complicating our business or feeling like we need to add all of these different things to our business. But it gives you an opportunity to think about, how can I creatively bring in cash to be able to infuse money into the business bottom line. Okay, so number one, cash injection strategy is to create an upsell offer for your current client. So let's just say, for example, you have a book of business, clients that you're working with, they're happy with the work that you're doing, they're getting results from you, and you notice a common challenge amongst these clients. Perhaps there's something that you see that is a need for the clients that is not necessarily in the scope of work of what you're currently doing for them, or it might be a way that you can go deeper in the work that you're doing for them. I remember a few years ago, we in our mastermind program, and we don't do this anymore because we kind of changed the structure of our mastermind program since then, but several years in the mastermind program, what we used to do is for clients that also wanted one-on-one support. So our mastermind is a group formatted program. And for clients that also wanted one-on-one support, they had the option to upgrade to one-on-one support. So we had a whole completely separate package that people could opt into for one-on-one support. So depending on what you do, you may have some kind of additional package that you could get them where they get more intimate level support, or they get a different type of support in their business. Maybe they're working with you in one aspect and there's another aspect that you can provide to them, and you offer clients that. It could also look like the upgrade is VIP level. So what are some of the additional services that you could add? Another way that we did this a couple of years ago was I added a special element inside of our mastermind program, which was called the CEO Roundtable. Now, the CEO Roundtable were calls that were set up that would happen with me on a weekly basis, and different clients. There was like a subset of our clients. So not every single client had access, but there was a subset of clients who met a certain level of achievement in their business that got access to the CEO Roundtable. That would be a perfect example of something that I could have turned into a VIP offer where people can invest more when they're working with me to get access to this additional call where we were working on their CEO level work, strategy, mindset, etc. So I want you to think about, right, based on a service that you currently offer, without you needing to redesign your service or create something completely new, what's an up level that you could do to your current service with existing clients? Because guess what? They already know you. They already like you. They already trust you. They already believe in what you're doing. And they are like the lowest, I don't like the term lowest hanging fruit, but you know what I mean, okay? They are the lowest hanging fruit, the closest potential opportunity for you to be able to add additional value and be able to add it so that value could be a cash injection for your business. Okay, so that's number one, identifying an upsell or an experience that your current clients could essentially upgrade into. Okay, number two, this is a great strategy that we've done for several years, and that is putting together some kind of event that will re-engage your past clients. So if you already have a book of business, people that you've been working with over the last several years, or heck, you can even go to people who have been reaching out to you. Maybe they didn't pull the trigger, right? So you could do this for past clients. You could do this for past leads, people that reached out to you but didn't make the move. They didn't decide to work with you at that time. You could put together some kind of event for them. This doesn't have to be like a live in-person event. It could be a workshop or a training or Q&A session that you're doing to bring them back together. And sometimes what you have to keep in mind, one of the things that I always say to our clients inside of Breadwinners Mastermind is people aren't always going to buy when you're ready to sell. People buy when they're ready to buy. So the best thing that you could do is to stay top of mind with people. And so what'll happen is someone is going to be making a business decision about what are some of the next investments that they're going to be, or making a life decision depending on what you do, right? Some are serving people on the life side of things. Some are serving services on the business side of things. Depending on what you do, someone could be thinking about making an investment. And if you are hosting something that puts yourself top of mind with them again, then great. Then they might say, oh, well, hey, I was thinking about working with somebody around this again. I was thinking about hiring a VA. I said I was going to do it last year. I didn't do it. I'm really at a crunch right now. I need to make the move. And so they may decide like, oh, now because they got an outreach from you where you let them know that you can help them, you added value for them, then they might be ready to go. Okay, so I would look at ways for you to re-engage. This is a really big one. I cannot tell you this, like literally every time I do this, it works like gangbusters for us. So I want to encourage you to take advantage of this strategy. You're either pulling together an event for leads, potential leads, like people that you've talked to, maybe you have had conversations, they weren't ready to move at that time, they could be ready to move now. So whether it's for leads or for past clients, or if you want to do it for a combination thereof of your leads and your past clients, some kind of event where you can add value. The key is adding value. Okay, so a Q&A or some kind of training, workshop, etc., that can add value for them. And you can be creative with that. I'm saying a Q&A, a training, or workshop, depending on what your service is, it might be something else that you're doing. Like maybe you're doing an audit, right? That could be helpful depending on what your specific services that you're providing, that will allow them to be able to get benefit from what you're doing, and then make a decision to decide to work with you for the first time or to work with you again in the case of them being a past client. Okay, so those are the first two cash injection strategies. Number three is to run a sale on any services that you might have created, or especially if you have like a digital course or digital program, something that's collecting dust on the digital bookshelves. You know, like, speaking of which, you guys are reminding me, or I'm reminding myself right now as I'm saying this, you know, we have a couple courses we created years ago that we don't sell anymore, right? I could totally pull that course on out, right? You know, dust it off, put together a couple of emails and let people know about it, right? And this, again, here's the key, but let me say, because this is a really important one here. I'm not talking about going on fire sale. I'm not talking about lowering your prices or your standards, but I'm saying if you have things that are sitting around, right? It's like a garage sale, right? You're not gonna, dollar sell the stuff out of your house. But if you have stuff, like right now, I got a lot of stuff in my basement, man. I'm gonna clean it out this summer. And what I could do, right, in the process of doing that, because when I first moved in my house, I was moving out of an office that I had been in for 8 years. And so I had all of the stuff from 8 years in that office, and it's in the basement. It's a lot of stuff. So what I could do, and there's a lot of great stuff, fixtures, all kinds of great, cool stuff, right? I could have a garage sale or sidewalk sale or something to be able to get rid of those things. It's the same thing in business. I don't want you to get caught up, especially if you're mainly identifying and finding clients online. I don't want you to get caught up and not think about traditional business and traditional business strategies and techniques and things that you could do that retailers are doing every single day, that brick and mortar businesses are doing. Like, these are tried and true business practices that you should absolutely be using for yourself. And so if you have some kind of digital product like a course or something like that you just stopped selling or you got rid of, there's something that you could do. And I don't want to say passively because it's very hard for something to be 100% passive. But what I mean is it doesn't require any additional work from you. It doesn't take away from your current business, but it will just take the time for you to make people aware and get the word out from a marketing perspective. Then it totally makes sense for you to put out an offer like that, right? So that's something that doesn't distract from your signature service, but you are just getting, like I said, dusting it off the digital selves and getting it out into the world. And so the key here, again, is not to distract from your current business, not to go on fire sale where you are super discounting yourself, but just to get something in circulation where, especially in summer, what I'm seeing in terms of like buying trends, people are still buying, they're still spending money. In summer, people are using a lot of that time for being able to educate themselves. They're thinking about preparing for fall, thinking about how do they get things set up for success before September, right? And so if you have products or services, or you have services like digital products is what I mean when I say products. If you have digital products or services that you can put out there that you have had off the market for some while, then that is an opportunity. And I would say more so on the digital product side than a service that would distract from your core signature offer. Okay, if you guys have any questions, I want you to load those questions up right now, or you can unmute and ask your questions live. I'm going to give you one bonus one. So we've gone through the 3. I'm going to give you one bonus one. And this is a big one. I really want you to pull together a list of the software that you are currently utilizing right now. Like, what Canva, like all the digital software and everything that you're using. I want you to put together a list of those things with what it costs you to invest in those programs on a monthly basis and see where you need to make some adjustments. And again, this is not coming from a place of scarcity, it's coming from a place of abundance, because when you are actually making a decision to stop putting out money and for things that you're not using, that is actually making a cash injection into your business. You're saving money in your bottom line, right? If you have software that you have, listen, I can't tell you how many clients that I talk to that have 50 different software taking $9.99 out of their account every month, right? So I want you to make a list of those software and just reevaluate. I even did this recently for us and looked at like, oh my gosh, we signed up for this thing. We were using it for a while. We stopped using it. And so like, let's get rid of it. There's no point in keep paying the $10.99 or $19.99 or whatever it is on a monthly basis. And it doesn't seem like a lot, but that adds up. That's, 100, 500, some cases, depending on the amount of the software, $1,000 a year that you could be saving, adding back in your pocketbook because you are not continuing to put out money on things that you're not using. So I want you to go through, and if you're not even sure, and here's another thing, are you not even sure all the things that you're subscribed to? If that's the case, print out your bank statements for 2 months, your business bank statements, go through and look at all the debits that have been coming out of your account. And then I want you to see where can you make some adjustments? What are the things that you're not using that you need to get rid of? What are the redundancies where you can actually, you might have 2 things that are very similar, you're only using one, or things that you signed up for on a free trial. Oh my gosh, those are the ones that'll really get you. They get me with the streaming TV. On the streaming TV, you sign up for a 7-day trial for something, and then next thing you know, 3 months later, you're like, what the heck is this little $5 charge here on my account? And you find out, oh, this is something that I was supposed to do a 7-day trial on. So I like to put those things on my calendar so that I don't forget to unsubscribe from those trials when they're over, if you're ever doing any kind of 7-day trials around anything like that. Okay, so I want to see, hey, Jackie, so glad that you're here. Awesome. She said she hired a virtual assistant recently. Hey, Kisa, so glad that you're here. So I want to see what questions that you have before we wrap up. While you get your questions into the chat, I want to make you aware of something really, really cool that we have coming up. Monica said, great idea. She created a business planner a few years back and thought this morning would be a great thing. Yeah, absolutely. Put that baby out there as a digital product and let people know, hey, you got a digital planner available. And those are great little cash and stuff, particularly for summer, right? Like summer is fun, it's light, like you can put things out, you can make offers. The key that I want you to be thinking about, and this is something that's so important, as women business owners, and then this breadwinning women business owners, you have to be making offers, right? An offer is just an invitation for someone to work with you. You have to be making offers. If you're wondering, how can I get more clients? Well, you've got to make more offers, which means being in conversation with people and making invitations for them to work with you. If you're not talking to people on a daily basis, if you're not making invitations for people to hire you or work with you on a daily basis, it's going to be reflected in your bottom line in terms of the number of clients that you have. So you got to get out of the weeds of your business, the things that are bogging you down in terms of busy work, and do the things that matter most. So if you are not at a level of your making consistent, 10, 20, 30K months, this is the shift for you in your business, that you got to figure out what you need to get off of your plate so that you can get out of the busy weeds of your business and start making offers. It's really time to double down on your sales and your marketing so that you can be able to see your business grow. The sales and the marketing mastery is where you're going to be focused to get to that multi-six-figure revenue in your business. All right, let me make sure I'm not missing anything inside of the Breadwinning Women community. Oh, I'm so glad that you're here too, Jackie. Okay. Oh, I was going to tell you about something that's really cool that we have coming up before I forget. So let me know. Just drop a cue for question if you have a question, so I'll know to get to your question in just a second. Okay. So I want you to firstly save the date. The date is July 26th. Okay. July 26th, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 3 p.m. Pacific Time. I have been behind the scenes working on this brand new masterclass that I am super, super, super excited about. I have not taught this kind of masterclass in a while, like in a minute. And so I'm really excited to do this. It's going to happen on July 26th, which is literally, just about 2 weeks from now. That's a Tuesday evening at 6 p.m. Okay. So you're going to want to get registered for it. The topic is going to talk about 3 ways to double your revenue, 3 ways to double revenue in your high-end service business in the next 90 days. Okay, 3 ways to double revenue in your high-end service business in the next 90 days. So again, if you're looking for more strategies, techniques that you can utilize to be able to grow to that multi-six-figure level of revenue in your business, you do not want to miss this session. It's specifically designed for people that are already in a place of like, you're already getting clients, you are, loving what you do, that you can help people. You're just looking to add more people to your business. You're just looking at, how can I not only add more people, but how can I sustain and manage the number of people I have? Because what ultimately happens for a lot of business owners is you start getting clients and you're doing great with your clients, but then you get stuck in client delivery. You're like delivering all the services, you're getting stuck in the client delivery, and then you're not able to focus strategically on the sales and marketing. So we got to clean up your delivery, right? Systemize your delivery. Look at where we can add automation to your delivery. Look at where we can get some things off your plate and start managing more of your CEO time so that you can be able to grow. So if that sounds like you and you're in that place where you're like, listen, Jamila, I'm ready to take my business to the next level. I'm tired of having a revenue ceiling in my business where I seem to be stuck in the same pattern of what I'm making on a monthly basis. You're ready to go to that next level, then you don't want to miss that session. So Again, it's called 3 Ways to Double Revenue in Your High-End Service Business in the Next 90 Days. And so that's happening on July 26th at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific time, 3 p.m. PST. All right, let me know who has any questions before we wrap up. I'm excited to yo, that's so good. Jackie says that she has Alexa to remind her 2 days before any of her trials ending. That's super smart. I love that. What a great tip. What a great tip. Okay, Jovian dropped the link for the masterclass so that you can go there and register for the masterclass. All right, so it doesn't look like there's any questions. So everybody's ready to go inject cash into your business. So awesome. And I look forward to seeing you next week for another Breadwinning Wednesday. I'll be back here at 6 p.m. Eastern. Oh, one more thing that I want to say before we jump. Okay, right now, Facebook is highly controlling the algorithm in terms of what gets seen, what does not get seen. And I've been getting outreach from members in our community saying, Jamila, I'm not hearing or seeing when you're going live. How can I find out when you're going live? Okay, so there's 2 ways of doing that. Number one is we have a turn notifications button on. Like inside of the Breadwinning Women Facebook community, at the top under the banner, there's a little bell where you can hit it that says turn notifications on. This is you making a decision that you want to directly be notified anytime we are going live inside the group or there's something happening inside the group. So that's basically going to override anything that Facebook is doing so that you absolutely can make sure that you're getting notifications of what these special trainings and workshops and all these cool things that we're doing for the community. Okay, so that's number one, if you haven't clicked that. Secondly, is that we have an email list. And if you're not aware, we have newsletters that go out with great business information a couple times a week. So if you're looking for strategy, like what I would call pocket strategy, right? Like me being able to coach you in your pocket, right, on your phone, then you definitely want to make sure that you get on our email list. Jovian, if you could drop a link to that as well, so that you can get on our email list and make sure that you're hearing direct communication from us. And depending on how things go, you know, I've really been thinking about the future of our community and what we're going to do, if we should move it to a different platform. So make sure, like I would honestly say, like, you know, turn the notifications on inside of the community, but make sure you're on our list. So if we decide to move the Breadwinning Women community to another platform, you will also be notified and you'll be able to stay in touch with me and everything that we're doing as well. Okay, so so that's something that I'm heavily considered. Like we might move the community to LinkedIn, where there's not as much algorithm difficulty as I don't know what Facebook and IG are doing right now. I'm like, do y'all like show people love? Do y'all want us on the platform or what? Right. So that is happening as real considerations that I'm making right now about whether or not we're going to move to a different platform, LinkedIn or somewhere else. I'm not sure. So make sure you're on our email list. In fact, let me just grab that real quick so you can make sure that you get onto our email list and not miss anything that we have coming up or things that we're doing, different events that are happening and all of that stuff. Okay, I want to make sure that you can get immediate access to it. So the easiest way to get on our list is to fill out our Become a Breadwinner form, which is going to be for the Facebook community, but it's actually going to drop you on the email list too. Join our email list. So I'm going to drop this in the chat for you really quick. All right. So grab that link real quick. I'll stay on the line for a couple seconds so you can make sure you grab the list to join our email list. Make sure you get access there. And that's it for today's Breadwinning Wednesday. It has been my honor and pleasure to be with you. Remember, this is not about information. It's all about taking action. So I want you to go out and take action on what you learned today. I want to hear from you. What is one of the cash injection strategies? In fact, let me just kind of recap those really quick before we go to make sure you got them all in case you joined a little late. Okay, so number one, we talked about creating an offer for your current clients, something that you can upsell them into. Okay, number two, we talked about hosting some kind of specialized event for past clients. This is something that we've done really successfully over the past several years inside of the Breadwinning Women community for our clients. And it's been able to re-engage people. And I'm telling you, every time somebody reaches out like, hey, Jamila, it's been a minute. Like, I haven't worked with you in a year, but I'm ready to come back, right? And it's really great. Like, it's so fulfilling to see people that are, they're still excited to work with us and, they still come to our events and all that stuff. Like, it's so heartwarming. So I want that for you. So definitely set up some kind of value added event that you can do for past clients or even leads that were maybe not ready at the time where you were initially having the conversation. Okay, number three, we talked about sell something that's been sitting on your digital bookshelves. So if you have a course, an old planner that you now have a digital version of, right? It's summer, like take advantage of summer sales and put yourself out there, make the offer, make the ask, make the invitation for people this summer. And then finally, the bonus tip that I gave you, bonus strategy, was to clean up your software suite. So take a look at all the things that you may have, taking money out of your account that you forgot about, pull your bank statements, go through, review, and then get rid of things that you are not utilizing. We've been even doing this. Last week, I did that for our company, looking at like, what are the things that we have that we're not using? And I'm probably going to go through and make sure that there's nothing else, but I was able to get rid of one or two things, and there might be one or two other things. And this is just a good, honestly, like, this is a good practice, like recession or not, like, this is a good practice to have in your business. You're doing that like every 6 months or once a year, that you're going through the software that you're having and making sure that you're getting rid of things that you're not using, that you have been essentially paying for, and that's coming out of your bottom line. All right, so that is our show for today. I cannot wait to see you with you next week. Take action on what you learn and move towards becoming the breadwinning businesswoman that you deserve to be. Bye for now.